In this video we will talk about materials in SketchUp and how we can apply them to surfaces, how we can modify. It's gonna be a really simple lesson because materials in SketchUp are not so complicated, just like anything else. So we're going to finish the part concerning the 2D drawings and the CAD aspect of SketchUp, which we saw in the previous video using layout and creating different types of technical drawings like 2D and also 3D sections, plan views, and so on. And we will leave the part also concerning the 3D modeling. So we're gonna go into the part of our series of lessons of our video course concerning the visualization of your project. So it starts with materials usually, and you can do this also not in SketchUp only, but also in other software. So if you export this, for example, in 3ds Max, or if you install V-Ray for SketchUp, or if you export this for Lumion or Twinmotion or Unreal Engine, whatever, you will always get to the part of creating materials, defining the illumination or the lighting system, and the final part, which would be the rendering of the final visualization or the 3D animation. Now, all this part in SketchUp is really basic, it's really simple, but also not so realistic. SketchUp always stays into this technical look, and you can give some artistic look. We will see that later. But if you want to do something more realistic, I'll suggest you to move to other software. And you're also gonna find these video guides and video in our channel. So if you want, you can also write comments and ask questions or give suggestions. Now, one suggestion is, even if we have to move to another software and create renderings and animation, or even if you want to stay here and use V-Ray for SketchUp, for example, or another render engine, we have to consider already which materials do we want to put in the various parts of our model. Now, when we import components or models from outside, like from a website or from the 3D warehouse, usually they have their own materials. We can also modify them, or we can pick them and use them in other parts of our project. So even though they are not so realistic, they can be really useful. And also when we will export, we will find, for example, just if we use simple colors, it will be easier in the software where we export to manage them. If you leave only one material for everything, it's gonna be harder because you will need to do that in the software that you're gonna export, but not always that's possible. So I suggest you create your own materials right now before, and if you don't want to spend too much time on doing this, you can use plain and simple colors, and then you can modify that later on in the other software. Okay, let's start talk about materials. So first thing that I want to show you here is the entity info. So when you select an object, which could be a group or a single surface, it's going to give you the material which is applied. Now this one here is the standard material or the default SketchUp material, and it has a front part and a rear part. So if I double click here and I double click again and I get to the surface, this is the double face here. So if I click here and I can change this if I want, I can use only the material that I have in the project, and I can do that also from here. Okay, but also I want to show you, let me go back, Ctrl Z, and I want to show you which one is the other face. So this is double face. If you right click and say reverse faces, this is gonna be the other part of the face, and this should be the back of the face. So make sure that you are all the time in the front part of the face, because this is gonna be better. It's gonna avoid issues probably in other software. Okay, so we can use from here also the application, the assignment of the material, but you can also select and go to the tags. We also use the tags in another video to assign materials. So if I right click and say okay, color by tag, now everything is in the layer 1, so everything is going to be red. But if you previously distributed all your objects in different layers, then you can use also layers to color your objects. So we didn't do that, so right click and deactivate the color by tag. So you can use then the materials. And yes, probably this is the best panel if you want to apply, modify, and manage your materials. Now, first of all, we have two different panels here. One is for the selection of one material to apply, and the other one is to edit the material. So you can edit whatever material you have in the project or you find in the libraries. When you go to select, you have a home page, which is basically your in-model material, and you may be a little bit amazed on how many materials are already there. But in here you can find the texture. For example, if you have imported terrains as we did in previous lessons, you can find here other texture and materials that you may have imported by importing objects from other website or from the 3D warehouse. So anything you import is gonna bring the materials with them. And so this is why you will find a lot of materials in your in-model, even if you never used any material and you never even get started with that yet. Doesn't matter, because when you import, you're gonna import also materials. So you can check all the materials that you already have in the model here, and if you click on this arrow, you can check the libraries. Now these are the default libraries. You can also click on this little menu here and you can open or create a collection. You can add collection to favorites. You can remove collection from favorites. So if you click here, you can, well, if a friend or a colleague is working on a project and wants to send you a collection, it can be done right here. So you can upload it and then use it. And also we have these this top part here. So this is gonna display the latest material that you've chosen, and it's gonna display the name, which you can change. So I can type here white color, and I can go here and open up a secondary panel. So I can have two panels concerning materials here. And you can see again I have the different libraries, materials, and in model. So perhaps I can keep here the in model down here, and then I can check other libraries here at the top. Okay, then you have the create material. So this is when you want to create something from the start, and it's gonna start from the material that you have selected here. So it's kind of modifying an original material. And well, of course you can then modify this one here as well by clicking on the edit